What do you do when the broken pieces of your life are scattered so far that you wonder how God could ever build a future from them? Some seasons of waiting feel less like a pause and more like a wasteland. You look around at the devastation, dreams that didn't survive, relationships that fractured, promises that seem forgotten, and the grief makes you weary. You are not the first to stand in the ashes of what used to be, questioning whether restoration is even feasible after everything has failed. The story of Shiloh reveals what happens when human panic tries to force a solution, and why the desperate compromises we make in the dark are never the final chapter. And before this story ends, you will see that even when we try to engineer our own rescue, God is still the only one who can truly rebuild from the ruins. In the closing chapters of the book of Judges, we find the nation of Israel tearing itself apart. A brutal civil war had nearly wiped out the entire tribe of Benjamin. Only 600 men survived, hiding in the wilderness, while their homes, families, and future were reduced to smoke and memory. The other tribes, realizing they were about to lose a brother tribe forever, were struck by deep grief. But they had sworn a rash oath not to give their daughters to the Benjamites. In a nation where their pain was constantly exposed, Israel lived with a grief that words could barely contain. The Israelites were not only waiting for peace, they were hurting in a life that felt unbearably empty. The devastation was not simply a personal disappointment, it was a national humiliation. In their desperation to repair the damage they had caused, the leaders devised a plan. They found 400 young women from Jabesh-Gilead and brought them to Shiloh, giving them as wives to the surviving men. But it still wasn't enough. 200 men were left without hope of a family. During the annual festival at Shiloh, as the young women came out to dance in the vineyards, the remaining men were told to step out of the shadows and take wives for themselves. It was a time of profound moral confusion, a dark, desperate scramble to preserve a future from the ruins of their own making. But the deepest part of this story is not the panic alone. It is what it reveals about our own hearts when we are terrified of the future. Today, someone smiles when asked if they are okay, yet at home, they carry a deep sorrow that they can't quite explain. They've seen others move forward while their own prayers feel unanswered. They've tried to remain faithful, stay composed, and not let tears spill too easily. But some nights, when no one is watching, panic overtakes them. They are tempted to step out of the light and grasp at whatever seems like a solution, settling for forced outcomes out of fear that God has abandoned them in the wasteland. This painful familiarity echoes the story of Shiloh. One of the most challenging truths in faith is that delay often feels like silence, and silence can start to seem like distance. However, the story of Shiloh teaches us that hurried, panic-driven solutions rarely lead to the peace we long for. While delay is painful, it doesn't necessarily mean abandonment. We should avoid interpreting waiting as rejection. Another lesson is that God isn't threatened by our brokenness. Even when we resort to desperate compromises, God understands the soul's true state. This means you don't have to engineer your own rescue or hide in the shadows, grasping at whatever comes your way just to get by. If you've been carrying a private sorrow, this story is for you. If you're tired of being strong, tired of watching others rejoice while you wait, and tired of praying for the same thing with no apparent answer, remember, you are not forgotten. Even if others misunderstand your pain, God understands it perfectly. If your tears have felt shameful, heaven does not despise them. If your heart is asking, "Lord, do you still see me?" this story reminds you that He does. The wait can be painful, but it does not mean your story will end in nothingness. Don't turn away if this pain resonates with you, especially because the prayer at the end is for weary hearts like yours. Lord, you who sees us in our ruins, look with mercy on the person listening now. Meet them where their hearts feel exhausted, delayed, and tempted to panic. Where they have cried secretly over a future that seems impossible, be their comfort. Where they have endured pain and considered desperate compromises, be their steady strength. And where hope has weakened, breathe new life into them gently. Remind them they don't have to engineer their own rescue. In your tenderness, remember them, hold them close, and rebuild their hope step by step. Amen. If this story touched your heart, subscribe so you never miss a devotion that speaks to your deepest pain.